son and daughter. And our advice to them and what we encourage them to do is to find things that they're really interested in, like try a lot of things, find things that they're really interested in, and go deep on those things, particularly in areas that seem like they're more challenging. Go deep on challenging things in areas that are interesting to you. Our son has a particular affinity for physics and science. The kid just, as long as I can remember, he'd be asking me questions about like, Papa, what happens if there's like a planet like revolving around two stars? Like, what is this orbital pattern? It was like 5 years old asking me these questions. I'm like, I have no idea. But if you're interested in that subject matter, like, let's learn about it. Like, let's go deep in this and just kind of investigate it, right? I think that's the best thing you can do is really try to find things that really stick to you and speak to you from like an interest perspective. You know, just because I like playing guitar doesn't mean that my kids should play guitar if they don't like it. You know what I mean? So they should find things that they're interested in and try to go deep on those things and probe the most difficult areas of those things. You know, because building that domain expertise and that interest space, that passion for that subject matter, I think that's what's going to count the most in the next 10 or 20 years.
You know, going deep, but then also with all this easy access to information, the breadth of knowledge that one can accumulate in the world is incredible as well. History, you know, all these different fields, you can get a good broad stroke of things and understand it and get, you know, below the surface level with a bit of research and kind of just digging into interests. And when you come across something that you don't know or you've never heard of, just do a Google search and you can understand what it is. And it just builds on your broader base of knowledge as well.
Yeah. And I think you can really get at like the gist of things, understand like the principle of things a lot easier now, and outsource the memorization of like the details. Like, do you really need to know and memorize in school, like, when was Napoleon born, or on what date did like the Battle of Gettysburg get fought? Like, why is that detail important for your advancement as a human in this world that we live in? What's important is understanding like, okay, what happened at Gettysburg? Well, Lincoln gave his address. Okay, like who was Napoleon and why was he important in the history of Europe? Well, he did this and that, and you know, it all ended at the Battle of Waterloo. That's important, right? It's not important to remember the details about when they lived and, you know, or when they were born or when they died or when this specific thing happened. And so I agree with you. I think it's a lot easier to get that breadth of knowledge and ideally to understand the principles behind it. And then in whichever one of those subjects that you're getting that breadth of knowledge in, if one of them really speaks to you, go deep, go really deep and try to probe the boundaries of that subject matter and explore the most difficult parts of it. Then you have a shot at building something differentiated for yourself in the future that is kind of like AI proof, let's say.